All right, welcome in everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today as a part of our Fall Career Quest. My name is Hong Win, and I'm a part of the Careers and Professional Development team here at WGU. And I'm so excited to introduce today's guest speaker. Joining us is Frankie, who is a Senior Training Manager for Learning and Development at AT&T, and he's also a proud WGU alum. Frankie's journey is such an inspiring one. He always had a heart for education, and today he helps new team members at AT&T grow their skills and build confidence, which brings his love for learning and his passion for people. So with that, Frankie, we're so excited to have you here, and I'll turn things over to you.
Well, I appreciate it. First of all, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate seeing all the names and all the stuff in the chat. Look forward to connect with all of you guys here. But yeah, I'm going to talk to you guys about a number of things today, and really the message here is just climbing without a map. I too did not know where I wanted to go or where my path was really leading me. And you're going to see how I bounced between a number of different roles and kind of just found new ways to ensure that I maintain that level of confidence throughout that journey, and led me to where I am today and kind of helped me see where my passions were, what I liked, what I didn't like. So we're going to walk through all that today. So again, thank you again for joining. I appreciate you guys. So I just want to share a little bit about myself first and foremost before I jump into the different frameworks and strategies I've used throughout my career. So I'm going to switch gears here. Just real quick, again, my name is Frankie Cornell. I'm a lot of things. I'm a husband, father, a leader, veteran, coach, teacher, big brother, all these things in my day-to-day where I truly just, me as Frankie, I care for everyone that I encounter. And I try to communicate that through my relationships and collaborating with different people. I just really genuinely care for those around me and those that I do meet. And I just have a passion for teaching and cultivating that growth and helping people find that passion and fulfill their potential to get them to where they would like to be. So again, thanks for having me here today. But I'll start on my education portion here. So as you can see, proud WG alumni here. I definitely got my bachelor's and my master's here at WGU. WGU was the right place for me, and I'm glad to reconnect with alumni and current students and the faculty there because WGU is special. For me, I was learning a number of things. I was a new father, newly into marriage, new homeowner, a lot of responsibilities that weighed on me. And I had to find what fit best for me because I knew I wanted to go to school. I didn't really know what for yet, but I knew I wanted to progress my education. So grateful for WGU for allowing me to do so. But yes, I'm proud alumni here. Happy to give back to the student body and for potential students going forward. A little bit about my experience. I'll work my way from the bottom up here. Started out 17 years old at within the Marine Corps. So yep, my parents signed my name away to the government at 17 years old. It was just I knew that it was the hardest and the most respected, and I was like, you know what? I want to see if I can do it. I didn't even look into any other branches. I was just like dead set. I'm gonna try and see if I can do it. And I made it on the other side, right? I graduated, did all the cool things, and I'm grateful for my time there. I learned a ton. And with anything, there's many things I liked, some things I didn't like, a lot of lessons learned, but I also got to learn a lot of different leadership styles and how I can be a better leader and what that looks like for me. After the Marine Corps, I went to a company called Ryder Logistics. Basically worked my way from the ground up at that company. So I was there for 9 years. Started as a fueler washer. The trucks would come in, I'd spray them down, fuel them up, and send them on their way. While I was in that role, I kind of did a little bit extra. You know, I would see the technicians working on the trucks. I'd say, hey, can I help you? Is there anything I can do? Can you teach me something? And that kind of got me in the door to progress within that company, to get that trust from my leadership to invest in me and teach me things. And then I eventually got that promotion to be that technician. And that kind of trended from each step that I took within that company. So from then, when I was a technician, I kind of did a little bit extra, like, hey, talk to the drivers, like what is the true issue going on here? I would just maintain that relationship with everyone that I encountered. And that kind of helped me progress and build upon my skills and really learn what I needed to do next. From that, going into management within the shop environment, then I moved away from service and working on the trucks to looking at the maintenance details. So things like parts and inventory. I did all of that different stuff that are essential in the shop environment. And then took my first step away from the shop environment where I've been in since I was 17, working on F-18s, all the way through my career there, where I was no longer working on the trucks or in the shop, but I was overseeing the maintenance on a region basis for any of the trucks where we had to send out for different service. So I didn't really know it at the time, but step by step, I was learning a skill that I needed to kind of build upon towards that next step. So by the time, by my ninth year here at the company, I had gained that credibility and that experience and that knowledge just by trying, right? Just by asking the question, just by getting people to trust me and invest in me. And it ultimately worked out for me, right? But between that took a lot of effort, a lot of failure, a lot of trial, right? But again, I just got to get back up and try again. So during this time at Ryder was when I was going through WGU. That's where I got my bachelor's, and in my final year there, that's when I graduated with my master's. So a lot of growth and a lot of self-discovery in this phase of my life. Again, I was new dad, new husband, new homeowner, a lot of different areas of growth for me. And then in that ninth year, I decided to take a leap. I wanted to use my education and jump into a field where I found that passion during school, during my current role, and where I wanted to combine both and implement them. So here's where AT&T comes into the picture. Been here almost 2 years now, where today I train all our business sales organizations where we have different organizations, but all the new sellers that come to us, I help coach, mentor, teach, and all of them, all the things they need to know about AT&T and our business solutions. So I'm still learning and I'm still growing and I'm still trying here. So in no way am I saying that I've made it to my final destination, but I'm still on this path. But ultimately, I'm very happy with where I am, and I can see from where I started to where I am today. Everything that I've done has kind of helped push me and lift me up to where I am today. All right. So let's keep going here. I want to talk about not so much about my past work, but what I learned during this phase. All right. So again, I care about people. All right. I'm great at collaborating, connecting with people. That's something I just do naturally and I'm passionate about. Um, During this phase, building confidence was not so easy, right? If I'm constantly learning, trying new things, that means I'm constantly failing and saying, hey, you did this wrong, do this next time, right? I had to learn some things to remind myself, hey, you're learning, you need to remain confident in your abilities and continue trying going forward, right? If you want to get to a certain level, you have to keep trying. So for me, I knew that where I wanted to be, regardless of what company, what role it was, I want to always kind of do something to where I impacted more people than just myself, right? So that's where when I finally got the exposure to teach and coach and mentor, that's where I really found my calling and my passion. And during this time, during these 11 different roles and 6 different paths, I've changed my mind a lot of times, right? And what I mean by paths is I might be in a job where I might think, oh, I want to go into this type of role, or I want to try this different field. And while that's great and I was growing in those periods, for me, I was kind of looking at it as I wasted a lot of time looking at these different paths where it wasn't really accurate. Right? I was really just working on the same path where I had to kind of grow, mature, maybe my responsibilities changed during that. But all these different detours or U-turns in my thought process of what I want to do we're all part of this greater plan. And to be completely honest, it could be more than six paths. I probably changed my mind way more than that, but six are just the number that I can remember that I've changed them as far as concrete career changes that I wanted to do. But that's okay, right? It's all part of growing, and that's what's really important, right? Just to keep moving towards something. And today, I think I have a really good idea of where I want to go, but I could still be completely way off, right? I don't know, but I think I have a good direction of where I want to be as far as like my experience and where I want to be at a professional and a personal level. And I'm going to continue working there, right? And one of my current leaders shared something with me that really resonated with me. It was at a conference last year, and he mentioned, he said this is like this was his quote, like I've never been qualified for any role that I've ever had, and that's something that really sat with me because when you want to do new things, it's easy to look at the job requirements and say like, well, I don't have that, I've never done that. I could probably do that, but I have nothing to show for it, right? It's easy to kind of self-talk your way out of it when in reality, all you have to do is try, right? Keep in mind, this is a VP of our organization saying, all I ever did was just try, and that's how I become successful. Like he is way further than I am, and he's saying the same thing that I'm kind of feeling in myself, where I'm like, I don't have the right qualifications. I might have the education, but I don't have the experience. I'm gonna go just try, right? I just need you to believe in me that I can do it, and I'm gonna go make it happen, all right? So the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people think of success or progression as like a linear motion, like up and to the right, like a chart, right? Where in reality it's not, right? Maybe if you're measuring like a target or a metric or something, but for us as people, our path and our progression looks a lot like what you see on the screen, right? A fluid motion, some type of like frequency, wavelength, visual, it changes, right? But time is constant, right? So we're changing our direction, we're making decisions, we're growing in some way that's helping shape us as humans and us, me as Frankie, but time is passing, right? So I'm progressing toward that goal where I want to be. And I think that's really important to call out because success and finding purpose and building your confidence, it looks different for every single person. And we comparing yourself to others that you see is not going to really help you and what you need to do to get to where you want to be. So I say all that, and I really want you guys to think about envisioning your future self, right? Using what we talked about, right? You don't have to be qualified, you just have to try, right? Have a conversation with people, connect with people, get them to trust and invest in you. But you have to envision your future self, right? What do you want? Like, what do you like? What comes natural? What are you passionate about? What gets you excited? One thing that I did when I was envisioning my future self was when I was in undergrad, when I was working on my bachelor's, I had an empty frame. Right? I took the stock image out of there. I just had an empty frame where I knew I was going to get this degree. I'm going to make it happen some way. And it wasn't just yes, it was a visual, but it wasn't just for me to put the degree in the frame. It was more so night over night, task by task, like every competency that I was working toward that degree, I was working towards something greater than that, right? What was the degree representing for me? One, yes, I can do it. Two, I'm working towards something because I want to do something greater in life, right? So that visual reminder really helped motivate me. throughout my entire time at WGU. And that's something I did for my master's as well. So you just really got to envision what that is that you want, and what you think that looks like for you. And just take that one step to remind you and motivate you to get there. A couple other things I'll mention here before I move forward. Find those people who will help build you up, who will share all your wins and help motivate you and say, keep going, don't stop. Find those people. They're usually already your inner circle, because you're going to need those people to help build you up, because this isn't easy, right? Like, school, life, career paths, it's not easy in any way. Um, and those people are really essential to keeping you on track and keeping you accountable to what you said you wanted to do weeks ago, right? Months ago, years ago. You said you wanted to do this. You're almost there. Why are you talking to me about stopping now, right? You need those people to champion and remind you of that larger, bigger picture, all right? And last recommendation here is keep your goals and the progress that you're making to yourself and to your close circle, right? For me, I learned this the hard way. I was sharing, oh, I'm working towards my degree, I'm doing this, I'm ahead of schedule. And then people that don't have the same mindset or ambition or work ethic as you, are going to be the first to shut those dreams and those goals down. Like, that's a lot of work. Like, where do you even find the time? Like, wouldn't you rather just hang out? For me, I had to quickly recognize those people and say, well, looks like I'm not going to be sharing this information with you guys, because I'm not going to let you dictate my success and how I progress toward my goals. So I kept that to my close inner circle. Just last recommendation here that I would share. All right. But as we're navigating our path, we're learning how to remain confident and still progress in some way. We have to walk some type of path, all right? So I'm going to switch gears here. We all drive on roads every day, right? We know we go from our house to work, work to school, whatever that looks like for you. There's not a single direction to get you to where you want to go, right? The roads are not always the most ideal, right? Your situations might be difficult, right? For me, I had a number of responsibilities that did not make it easy for me to accomplish what I wanted to get to. But regardless, you know you want to get there, just go, right? Just make that next step, right? Just start something. And that's going to help you build that confidence and build towards those next steps, right? Because our roads and our paths are not always clean, right? Sometimes there's a random bumper in the road. Sometimes there's some recliner just hanging out in the middle of the street that you got to navigate around. But regardless, you got to work around it and get back on track, right? And the reason I like showing this visual is because when you miss your exit, right, you know how to drive here, you've taken this road probably many times. When you take that wrong turn or you miss that exit, then that panic or that fear sets in, right? That uncomfortable sense where something's new. How do I navigate? That feeling right there is where you know you're encountering something in your career or something in your life that's going to force you to grow. And for me, this opportunity, once you experience this, it feels like you're going against everything in your body. Every single cell in your body tells you, no, you should not be doing this. This is not our comfort zone in any way. Why are we even thinking about this, right? But if it's something that you are somewhat interested in, or you're thinking, well, what if it's the right decision? What if it's not, right? That period is where you truly grow, right? You have to try new things, because eventually, once you navigate through that side road, to get you back on your original path towards work or wherever, you're going to be more familiar with it. Over time, it's going to feel more comfortable, right? And that just takes you stepping out of that comfort zone so you can force yourself to grow, all right? It's going to be scary. It's going to feel like unknown, and that's okay, because that's where we grow. There's no getting around it. If we just stay in our lane, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But I'm assuming like-minded individuals like you all, you want to try new things, right? You want to chart those new courses. You want to find different paths to navigate through. And I'll challenge you when you feel that, do that, right? Try that new path. It took me a long time to learn this, so that's why I share it with you guys. And as you start navigating through those uncertain paths or those new directions that you go, your confidence is building the entire time. You're telling yourself, "Oh, I didn't think I could do this, but I've already done it twice, right? Maybe I want to try this other route, right?" You're building that confidence day over day. The more you practice that, all right? And the next topic is my absolute favorite lesson. Um, I get really passionate about it because if you buy into it, you implement it, it's truly impactful, and it's something that I had to write down and notate because I'll tell it to anyone who will give me a second of their time, will give me their ear, because I think it's truly invaluable and it can impact anyone in any situation, any role, any industry, anyone at all. It can help you um, with your decision-making process, all right? And it's called the power of what if, all right? So why this is so powerful? What this does is basically how I've used it is flipping the script on negative self-talk. So me, I'm a natural overthinker. I'm gonna analyze, think about situations 20 different ways. And I could be sitting in analysis and kind of ideating what it looks like, potential outcomes for hours or even days or weeks at sometimes. And that negative self-talk is something that's so consistent, at least for me, and I know it exists, in others, that we have to find a way to address it in order to help us progress towards what we want, right? If and put a put a pin on, okay, that's not reality. That's just me kind of in my internal dialogue trying to shoot my idea down. Okay, so we need to just be able to call it out and know how to work through it. So the power of what if is something that I really love and I share any chance I get. All right. And even before today, this is what I use for myself when I prep for speaking or when I'm teaching a class or a mentoring session. I use this to help me calm my nerves because, yep, I get nervous every time I do this. It's not going to go away anytime soon. Um, and I flip that negative self-talk of, what if you can't do this? What if you don't do this really well? What if you suck, right? And I turn that to, I really care about this and I really want to do well. Um, I'm not going to be the one that holds myself back. And I'm going to do two things, really. I'm going to either go in there, present, speak, and I'm going to do terrible. I'm going to fall on my face. I'm going to stumble over my words. I'm not going to know what I'm saying. I'm going to be shaking and nervous. Or I'm going to go in there. I'm going to speak to what I know. I'm going to, communicate my confidence and impact those who are sitting there listening to me in that session. Regardless of whatever the outcome is, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it. All right. And I'm not going to be the one that tells myself no, so I can't grow in some way. Right. So that's something that I do constantly to help myself shift away from that negative self-talk. And a couple of examples of what you see here on the screen of using the what if. On the left-hand side is where we'll start with the most common self-talk that we tell ourselves is I just can't, or maybe I shouldn't, maybe it's not ideal, and not right now, right? This is something that I have told myself, and I'm progressing to minimize that. Whenever I have ideas or I'm working towards some bigger goal, like what if I can't? But the power of what if is flipping that, right? What if I can, right? What if I'm able to do it. And it comes somewhat naturally to me, right? What if I like learning? Because I know it's going to be hard, right? I wanted to get my bachelor degree. I know I'm going to have to learn a ton. There's going to be a lot of work, right? Everyone says, I probably can't do that, so I probably just won't. But what if I can, right? So flipping that and looking at that positive perspective is going to get you to at least think about what that looks like. And for me, the breaking point or the breakthrough really was I can't really devote myself to sitting in a classroom for hours and hours to obtain my degree, but I can look at universities to see that are online, and maybe I can work through at my own pace at my own home because I want to be there with my family. I want to be there with my wife for at my house, right? Those are my priorities. I just had to find out what fit best for me at that time. So flipping that to I can and I want to allowed me to take the next step and find WGU and just start taking classes. And that's really what that was my breakthrough, honestly. And moving over one, right? If you, for using my example, I know I want to obtain my bachelor's, but what if it's not really what I imagine? What if it doesn't open those doors that I'm expecting for it to for it to open? What if it really doesn't give me that many connections? You don't know, right? But what if it is what you imagine? What if it is that thing that helps get you that promotion or helps you find your true passion or your calling? Um, and it's something you knew you wanted to do anyways. But what if this is the thing that it does help you get there, right? It is what you're imagining. You might have someone that's in a similar field where they're like, it's really not all what it's cracked up to be. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to base my goals and my progression and my success off of what someone else has done because I'm me at the end of the day, right? I have to try things for myself. And I'm not going to really take your word for more than just surface level if I know that's kind of the person that you are, right? Um, I'm going to find out for myself if it's what I want. And kind of doubling down on that, I wanted to earn my bachelor's. And what if I do, right? I'm already taking these small steps to make it there. What if I actually make it and I graduate? What if I become, the few of my family to actually have a degree of some sort? What if I do that? And taking it one step further, what if I get that degree at a university where I can do it completely at my own pace and I can take tests and do all my research and coursework at home on my own time? That's where things really started to pick up for me. On top of that, moving over to the fourth one, what if I do really well? What if I get my bachelor's degree and my master's, and I not only I not only graduate, but I'm able to use that and build on top of those degrees for what I found my true passion is. And what if I do really well and I can, make connections at other companies and build my network? There's so much more that you can see and do once you flip that negative self-talk to a positive, and it kind of just keeps on building on top of each other. Something's hard to stop. It's something that's really hard to stop once you get started. And this final pillar right here, what if it's greater than I ever imagined? And honestly, this is where I'm at today. Like, this is what I've worked from and what I've worked toward, and I'm here right now um, at a large enterprise organization where I'm able to live and breathe my passion for coaching and teaching and impacting people of all ages, really, um, and being an influential leader in the business, right? Not only am I teaching, but I'm empowered to use my education and my leadership experience that I've been building from 17 years old in the Marine Corps all through my career. Now I'm at a large business like AT&T where I can be a leader and make decisions and influence our teams to drive the business toward where we want it to be. And I'm empowered to do that. And it just took some time and a lot of lessons learned to get me there. But this is what that outcome can be if you start practicing how to flip those perspectives and that negative self-talk. Because if you want it, you can find a way to go get it. And that's something that I live by. If that's truly something that you want, what really matters is the level of effort that you're willing to put into. If you want something, you're going to find a way to go get it. All right. And this is, I'm really passionate about this because it's really applicable in anything, not just school. You could use it in your current role, in your personal life, just in really anything at all. And truthfully, there's nothing else you take away from what I say today. If you just walk away with this, you will see things will start to happen. All right. Small incremental growth, you will see it once you implement something like this. All right. And I'm gonna keep moving here on navigating our path. Right. So we talked about how we find what we're passionate about, right? What road we're even driving on, what direction we're going to be driving on. We talked about how to discuss our internal monologue on, okay, I know I think I want to go here. I need to know how to handle this self-talk so I can keep progressing toward that, even though it's going to be hard. I'm going to be tired. I might have some late nights. It's not going to be an easy road to get there, but I need to know what to do in those situations where I'm really in the thick of it, where I'm not excited for that next task or submitting something or writing the next paper at midnight. I have to have a plan and a process in place to make sure I keep progressing. So here we are navigating this path that we've built, right? So we might still not know what direction or what final, outcome this will be or where the destination is, but we need to know how to navigate this path that we're on. And remaining confident during this time frame, this is what we're going to be doing this whole time. All these small behaviors, self-talk, what do you like, right? All the people that you're connecting with, this is all going to help build that confidence throughout this process. So first on the left-hand side, lean into that uncertainty. Nothing about it is going to be natural, easy, comfortable. Realistically, you just got to trust the process. All right, with time and change, you will eventually feel more comfortable within that area of discomfort. I promise you, it's not going to be easy, but day over day, you're going to feel more acclimated to it, and you're going to see and feel how you're progressing. As you navigate this path, it really doesn't have to make sense right now. You just know you're working towards something greater that you want. And like I said earlier, you can change your mind, but the important thing is to make a next step to go toward that next goal, right? If you change this idea towards another one, great. I think I want to shift perspective. What does that next step look like? Okay. Second thing here, incremental growth. Giving yourself grace. You're not always going to be perfect, right? You're not always going to submit your tasks on time. You're not always going to hit every target you set for yourself. We're not perfect. Give yourself some grace and give yourself some wiggle room throughout your planning, okay? Small wins. This is something that we communicate to our teams all the time. Celebrating our small wins help motivate us to finish the job. These things in between help keep us rolling on this long journey that we're working on to get us to the end goal. So these small wins, it could be I submit task one by Friday. Maybe I submitted it by Friday evening, still on Friday, but that's a small win, right? Maybe I got feedback on one of my tasks, and maybe it's just a little less feedback than the one I submitted prior. No, it's not completely done, but I'm still making progress, right? Those are realistic and impactful small wins to help you keep progressing toward that ultimate goal. And when we're on the topic of goals, we need to identify those ambitious goals and those realistic goals. So this might look something like in 5 years, I want to graduate with my master's degree. Where if you dial that back in a realistic version, maybe I want to graduate, or maybe in 5 years, I want to at least graduate with my bachelor's and at least start my master's degree, right? Still working toward that goal, but just breaking it down to be more applicable to whatever your life is like or your priorities are like at that time. So just breaking it down to realistic as well as ambitious goals, just knowing you're moving in that direction, right? Does it have to be on a tightrope, just in that general direction towards where you want to go? All right, moving on to number 4, breaking down these larger tasks, larger projects into smaller pieces. This is something that we do here every day. We know we want to meet a target. We know we want to change this curriculum. It's this huge project. What do we do today to start that process? Right? What small things can we do to start rolling that ball, to start getting that project in motion? It doesn't have to be perfect. That's one thing I stress all the time. It does not have to be perfect in any way. We can stop, change, pivot, try something, learn from it, and try something again. But at least we're working toward that larger project and we're learning during that time frame. So breaking things down, like for me when I was in school, I would break down, if my course had 6 tasks, I would say, I'm going to try my best to have task 1 and 2 complete by the end of week. When I submit those, I could probably start on maybe task 3 while I wait for the feedback for the other 1 or 2. Just having a plan of breaking down this larger list into smaller pieces, and you just start. And once you see yourself progress, that confidence is going to be building the whole time. And you're going to see, I have a process, it's working for me, and it's kind of starting to roll a little faster now. And once you're rolling, you're able to do something with the feedback that you're getting. So moving on to number 5, finding value in feedback, both positive and negative feedback. Feedback is something you could really only do 2 things with. You can either take it personally and not do anything with the feedback, or you can listen to what the person is saying, grow from it, learn from it, and implement something, learn and show the growth there. Feedback is absolutely a gift. It's the only thing we could really ask of those around us, our peers, our friends, help us grow as people, as professionals, and something that we as leaders ask our team all the time for feedback, because we need to know what they need from us that I'm not already thinking about, right? So feedback is a gift. Find the value within that. And then consistency. I'm sure we've heard it before, but consistency is absolutely key. You've identified what general direction you want to go. You know how to navigate that. You have some type of process to work toward that path. Doing it over and over and over again and remaining confident in the journey is very powerful. You'll feel that momentum as you start completing those first couple tasks, your first class, you knock that out of the way, and then you just keep going. You're like, man, I've been here a month. Maybe I've finished 2 classes already or 3 classes. Momentum is powerful. It's so powerful that it needs another force to stop it, right? If something keeps rolling, it has to be stopped by something, right? You just need to get things started, all right? And with that, we've talked about all these 3 things, right? We know we need to talk about our goals, think about what we like or passionate about. Build some type of plan. Does not have to be perfect. I stress progress over perfection every day of the week. Planning in some way. What can we do right now? All right. And then we're going to take the action, right? So then it's the hardest piece, but it's the most impactful. You can ideate and think about what it could look like, what you can do. Going and taking action and doing it is the hardest part, but it is essential. You have to follow through. And then once you see that, just rinse and repeat. All right. And with that, that's all I have for you today on building confidence without really knowing where your path is leading you. I just want to say thank you guys for spending time with me. Thanks to WGU for giving me a second to share my learnings with you guys. I'd love to connect with you all. I put my connections at the very bottom there, so please don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to seeing all the great things that you guys do, both at WGU and your own personal and professional careers. Would love to be a connection at any point. So thanks again, guys.
Thank you so much, Frankie. That was a lot of great insight. We'll go ahead and open it up now for some question and answer. Just as a quick reminder, you can drop your question in the chat or raise your hand. Lisa, I see your hand is raised. I'll pass the mic over to you here in a second. We just do ask that you keep your questions relevant to the topic. Make sure they're not too specific or unique to your own personal situation so that they can benefit the entire group. So let me go ahead and see. All right. Oh, okay. All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat here. Frankie, I know you mentioned one of your big tips was just to try, even if you're unsure, even if you don't know which path you're going, just to try. A lot of times we get questions about imposter syndrome. So even though you're in those roles or you're in that project trying, what were some ways that you handled that imposter syndrome?
I think just really leaning into I wouldn't be here if someone didn't trust or believe in me to be here. Um, Going back to that, like even though I don't fully believe in myself at this moment, right? I'm here for a reason, and I'm here. I'm gonna do my absolute best. I'm gonna make it mine. I'm gonna put my stamp on it, and I'm gonna make sure I make my mark while I'm here. And whether that, again, I might come in the first two or three times and not do so great, but I'm gonna keep coming back as long as they're trusting and confident that I could do it. Um, and then that self-talk thing that I mentioned, like really shifting that from I'm, am I supposed to be here? Why me? To I'm here. I'm gonna go do something with it. Like there's a reason. Um, that self-talk is really what changed the game for me with imposter syndrome. Because like in my current role, I knew nothing about AT&T solutions or product joining here. I didn't know how to lead teams. I didn't know how to teach and coach. So naturally, I was like, I'm talking to sellers about things that I haven't sold yet, but I can do that because I'm a teacher. I can teach myself and articulate it in a way that they can understand and go do well in the business with. So it's really just shifting that perspective and understanding that you're there for a reason.
Thank you, Frankie. Any other questions? Feel free to drop those in the chat. If you do think of one later on, you can always email us and we'll make sure to get that over to Frankie. And then just a lot of comments here, just saying thank you to you for your insights shared today. Another question that does come to mind, did you have any specific resources or books that or podcasts that maybe you tapped into that helped you shift your mindset or just be able to practice those habits that helped you try more and kind of build that self-confidence?
Yeah, I think it's not really a ordinary book, I would say, to help me like progress professionally. But I'm really big into music. I like when artists write books, I usually go and read them just to get the behind the scenes of what they were thinking when they were writing songs and things like that. And one person that really was impactful to me was his name is Russ. He's a current rapper. He makes music. But what he does is he has a couple books, but he has one. It's called "It Was You All Along." He kind of talks about how people go through life really waiting for someone to give them the applause or say, "Man, like you're doing so great," or "So proud of you." Where really, it really just takes you to acknowledge that and you to tell yourself that to keep you progressing toward what you want to be. So the book is great. I'm not saying you have to go listen to his music also, but his book is actually really impactful, and the way he talks and speaks in the book is conversational. It's not. It's you can tell if you've heard him talk on podcasts or heard any of his songs. That's how he speaks, and I really liked that one. It was something not too long, not too short, but it was really impactful, and that's one that comes top of mind there.
I did drop that link there for Frankie's book recommendation, so you can find that in the chat. We'll just give it a little few more moments here for any questions. We are getting some thanks through the chat as well. So that's also fantastic to see. I also dropped the survey link, and it's just 2 questions, and we greatly appreciate your feedback. So if you can go ahead and send that through, that'd be fantastic. And then I did also drop Frankie's LinkedIn in there, so please feel free to connect with him.
Perfect.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, if there are no other questions, we can go ahead and conclude today's session. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us and for engaging in the chat. Please keep an eye out for that follow-up email that will include the recording along with that quick survey. And you'll also be able to find this session on our YouTube channel. We are wrapping up our fall career quest, so make sure to check Handshake to continue registering for those sessions. And most importantly, we would like to extend a big WGU thank you to you, Frankie, for sharing your story and insights with our community today. Your openness and passion for learning and also dedication to people made this session so insightful and practical. And we're so grateful that you took the time to be here. Thank you again, everyone. We look forward to seeing you at future sessions, and we hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a good one. Thanks.
Thanks, Frankie.